Hi guys, it's Alicia here with my work basket. I mentioned in a previous video, the vloggiest of all vlogs, that I am going to be doing something I call the Summer of Stash. The idea of the Summer of Stash is that over this entire summer, from June 1st to August, 30th, 31st, I don't buy any craft supplies. I do have a few accommodations in place, to kind of not bend the rules, but to make it more feasible that I actually complete the goal. So those things, if you're curious, is that my husband gets the ability to have 3 vetoes. So essentially, if I really need or want something, I can, for 3 times, get a pass where he essentially allows me to get said item. So I have to be very picky in what I ask him to allow me to get. I say finger quotes on allow because he's doing it to help me. It's not like a control thing. I see people mention stuff like this in groups and people like lose their mind, like your husband shouldn't be doing this. I've asked him to do this for me. This was something I set up the rules and he's willing to do to help me out. So I'm also allowed to buy tools and gadgets, essentially non-consumable items. And most likely, this isn't really a craft supply. I'm going to probably get some organizational stuff. The reasons for this are twofold. One is that my stash is insane. And the second thing is I really want to kind of narrow down what my personal style is. And I figured, why not? So before it gets fully started, today is June 6th, so I'm less than a week into not buying new craft supplies. I'm less than a week into the Summer of Stash. I thought it'd be fun to do a craft room tour to show you exactly how ridiculous my stash is to begin with. And then I'll do another craft room tour at the end of the summer, and we'll see how much stash I really worked through. So worth noting, I do share the craft room with my son. We homeschool, so this is also our classroom. And this is not by any means all of our books, nor is it all of my stash. I do have stash in other parts of the house. So by the end of the Summer of Stash, I may bring items from the rest of the house up here, so it may or may not look emptier at the end of the summer, depending on if I bring things from other places in the house and actually get it all in this room and organized like it's supposed to be. So last summer, I had shoulder surgery, and I also put this room together into the craft room classroom combo. Before that, it had been a craft room, and it was just a freaking mess. I couldn't even work in here. It was just stuffed to the gills. Nothing was organized, and I worked really hard last summer to turn it into a craft room classroom that was usable. But I had shoulder surgeries and I was running out of time. So as I go through the tour, there's going to be things that I point out that it's literally labeled like redo this. Or I might mention something that's like this whole thing was like to get it done quick. So there are parts of the room that I already know are kind of jacked up. It's not a clean room. I'm not a clean, super tidy person. But that is, something that's going to come up is this item was set this way because my shoulder surgery, the date was looming and it had to be done. So that's something that'll come up into play. But let's get started and I'll show you my craft room. Okay, so we'll start with the door to the craft room. Very best place to start, right? So first of all, you'll see these 2 chair backs. I bought these chairs last summer for use in the craft room this year. They did not make it through the school year. They got broken. So my intention was to turn them into a bench where the seat goes between the 2. And it's sitting here until I figure out where else to put them. This stack was actually meant to be donated and has yet to make it to donation. So that's that. This is my beautiful, I love this. This is my vintage hutch. So we have various craft supplies and items up top here, including my giant plastic hippo. These boxes are, I think, sewing patterns, no, ribbon. Then you can see my nifty knitter. This is actually a mat cutter. There is a quilt ruler stuck in there. My Cricut. Other boxes are back behind there. This was something, I hope my friend doesn't watch this. This was a mini piñata she sent me when I had my surgery. You're actually supposed to break it, and I ate all the candy from his back and decided to keep him in one piece. She's like, no, you have to break it. So I just have other boxes back here behind my Cricut. That's a diorama of the Alamo that my son made for school. The hutch is a combination of school supplies and craft books. So you'll see there's craft books, scotch tape, office supplies, school stuff, kind of all on one shelf. And it follows that kind of chart for every... I just think he's fun. He could use a bath. Those are mostly school books, office supplies, school books. I do also run homeschool groups, so some of the books are not necessarily for my son, but activities that I might take there. This drawer is actually mostly empty of stuff to be redone. I was actually looking for these. I have so many like different punch needles and sets. So yeah, all sorts of random stuff. This bin's actually empty because they're just handy for stuff. So the hutch is a combination. That one is meant to be redone. You know, I was looking for something recently and I bet it's in there now that I see that. So yeah, so there's drawers like that that are meant to be redone. I have a drawer here that's all sewing thread. I accidentally shut my thingamajig in there. This one's meant to be redone. I mean, the room's kind of a mess, and the cubbies both have stuff in it. I have a stack of dolls on my chair. At the beginning of the school year, this was a very usable chair, and I'd sit here and rock and wake up and drink my coffee while my son got started. The craft room actually has one of the largest closets in our house, and it looks like more of a mess than it is. Inside of the closet itself is actually cardboard boxes that are sorted and labeled with the materials inside. So there'll be one that says like fabrics, cotton, you know, yarn, cottons, yarn, worsted, yarns, blue greens, things like that. But the top of it does kind of just look a mess. And it's slowly kind of poured out of the closet. I'm not going to lie, that corner of the room looks terrible. It is the biggest goal for me this summer to get that corner all cleaned up. This actually has a large amount of DK weight yarn in it. There are other boxes under this table. This is my Beacon Hill dollhouse, which is, I told you I'm a messy person. All the rooms are kind of stashed with different things. But yeah, so this corner is my big project, my goal to kind of get this all cleaned up this year. I also have a bookshelf here. This is just a box that we're saving to do an oven, like a solar power oven. All of these, see, here's one that's labeled redo. I don't actually know what's in here. This is one of the ones where I was running out of time and it's got to get redone. So there's kind of a combination of school and craft. Books, the craft iron, themed kits, Sculpey, my vintage weaving loom. So as you can see, I mean, the closet alone is kind of more stashed than is fair for one person. These are canvases that are terrible and meant to be repainted. New canvases, oil painting supplies. This has like my brush cleaner and stuff like that. And then I actually use this container for kind of whacking off the brushes, Bob Ross style. So that's why it's so like messy looking. This is all mat boards. My mini ironing board. Yes, I have an insane amount of styrofoam trays. I collected styrofoam trays for a long time to do a block printing project with my homeschool group, and they just flew through all the styrofoam I took in. And since we use styrofoam for other projects too, like STEM projects and things like that, I always stash styrofoam. So then we get into more of the books, magazines, books and magazines. So these go, most of these are my things, and then you'll see there's craft room, classroom, combo stuff, kind of all stashed together. This is all sticky felt that we bought for projects that didn't get used. These are sewing patterns. I do try to keep everything labeled to help my son find it. That's actually a doll in her box. I'll show you. I mean, just to... all of these drawers are exactly what they're labeled as. Some of them are busting to the gills, and some of them are not all that full. But, let's see. I think I did this shelf of books already. But I'll go through those. And then I have these. Most of these cubbies are, in fact, school-related stuff. Then it's kind of my stuff again. I feel like it's a good blend of craft room and classroom. Like my son can turn and grab what he needs. There's a bin of balloons. This actually needs to be redone. It's all crochet threads and weaving threads, but it needs to be redone because, as you can see, there's a ton of empty space in there, and I have a whole nother thing full of crochet threads downstairs. This old punch needle things over there. This is assorted stuff. These are wools and cottons. Like I said, you can see my stash is more than is fair. This bag's actually all jewelry that I was selling at one point. All of the corners. Okay, so my camera randomly stopped recording for some reason. Forgive me if any of this overlaps, but I wanted to make sure I don't miss anything. I'm pretty sure it cut off right as I had done these cabinets, both of which are full with, this one has crochet thread, this one has miscellaneous stuff. Then we get into a corner. All my corners are messy. I have this thing which is full of wibbly bits. This whole stack of boxes and carton and wooden crates is actually old magazines. This particular one is all miniatures. The others I don't remember. This whole pile was one of those like I'm running out of time situations. And then there's some empty organizational boxes on top. The corner is fairly well organized to be exactly what everything is labeled as. That's my pins and needles thing. It's backwards. These are all labeled with what's inside of them and fairly well organized. That's drawing papers. This is all cardstocks, colored papers, and this bin's actually stencils. And then I have my drawers, which are filled with what they are labeled as. The top two are paper crafts. This one is all floss and Aida fabric and needle point fabrics and things. I actually have two drawers like that. The other one's over there that you'll see. And you'll see I even have some that are just labeled like, hey, redo this. This drawer here is my bias tapes and trims, and the one on the bottom is all stuff for doll making, like doll making fabrics. As you can see, I can actually barely get to those bottom drawers at the moment. This is actually a bin filled with any kind of paper on rolls, and then this whole pile kind of grew as the school year went on. I have another bin full of woods that don't fit in drawers. My son and I are both messy types, what can I say? So I just found some floss on the floor. Oh, we were actually looking for this. This is his rocketry kit. I was wondering where that got off to. Turns out it just fell. So some model rockets for him to build. And again, this is kind of a combination of organized and not organized. And you can see here's another miscellaneous redo, but I did kind of label what's on there. This is large miscellaneous tools. Oh, that's where I put those. I should have read that. So I was actually looking for these recently and couldn't remember where I put them. So I should have read that. This is my wire crochet kit. There's just different, there's my Prima weaving loom is in there. Different bits of large stuff. And there's another one labeled large miscellaneous tools. And again, it has labels on it as to it's my peg loom, paracord loom, hexagon looms, all in there. The miscellaneous pile, oh, that's why there was random crochet thread. There was random floss on the floor, and it's because this container got bust open. So let me fix that. That's not even supposed to be there. It's supposed to be actually stacked up, but it fell down one day. This is a vintage desk. All of this is construction paper. All of this is 12 by 12 cardstock. My craft toaster oven, a small city my son was building. This is the craft room table. We do usually keep it fairly empty. I'm bumping into my chair here. We do have a craft cart that is mostly for school stuff. It actually has kind of a busted wheel, so we don't really move it around very much. So this is the stack of magazines I just worked through for a video recently, and I'm working through again for additional videos. He's working through this for school. I have a needlepoint project in here. This is a kind of a project in progress. That's an old school desk. Like, as you can see again, all of our corners get filled with stuff. So corners are kind of my focus to clean this summer. This is a bag full of magazines and brochures that I've gotten at previous recent trips to Scrap Beemore. This started out as a super cute reading area with these pillows you could sit on. It didn't really last. My son has math notes stashed away and the dry erase board stashed away. UFOs. Everybody needs a bin for those, right? Fabric. You notice it's labeled mom only. There is very few things in here that my son doesn't have open access to. This is the other needlepoint drawer. The sun's coming in that window, so I'm trying to kind of skip out here. These are different. This actually has math things in it. And this is like our circle scissor, our paper trimmer. This is to make boxes, markers. This is actually full of antique paper dolls. This is tools, markers. I'm trying to avoid the sun here for you. I'm not actually sure what's in that wooden crate up there. I think it's meant to be redone. These top two need labels. This is molds and cookie cutters. And then they're all as labeled. Mom only is generally things that are either they are detailed and I don't want my son to accidentally break them, or they're for a specific project. Like I have a few miniature kits in here that I don't want him to randomly use. Bins of wood bits. Then we get down to, I hope you can read this. It says sanding, Dremels, small papers, notepads, post-its, index cards, rocks and shells are there on the bottom. Those books are actually waiting for me to mail to somebody. Stacks of patterns. All of these are also labeled. The bottom bunch of them are bead related. Math tools, small looms. I'll pull that one open for you. So it's all kind of like flower looms, handheld peg looms, weave its, potholder looms. Another tool drawer. This is like random screws and stuff I found cleaning out a bin. Fiber tools, latch hooks, rug hooks, my collection of K-Tel knitters. Oh, that's where stickers were. I knew we had a thing for stickers and I couldn't remember where. And I just found some stickers earlier and like stashed them in our craft cart because I couldn't remember. All sorts of paintbrushes. There's mixed stuff in here for kids painting and art, like weird art painting and normal stuff. Activity sets, pretty much anything pre-purchased. My paint spinner that doesn't really spin. These are more so school plays. I have a very similar craft like drawer cart entirely for Sculpey and its supplies, but it's in another room. That's probably the second time you've heard that. That is this monkey. At one point we were using it as a paperweight and it had fallen to the floor. Specialty paints, paint, knitting and crochet is all knitting and crochet hooks. My glue drawer. If you ever wonder, like people ask me what glue should I, and I'm like, yeah, I have a glue drawer. So I think anyone who does more than like one craft has a glue drawer. And the one down here is craft basics. So pipe cleaners, styrofoam, feathers, googly eyes. This whole drawer card is science related. So the bottom is botany, dissection supplies and botany soils. Safety gear, botany chemicals, large specialty items, chemicals, small tools, microscope supplies. Basic supplies, petri dishes, plastic tools, glass items. We actually purchased some like college grade science kits. So the botany is like a full-blown science kit. One day we'll get to it. And then we have a mini cart for snap circuits. We have multiple sets, so I took them out of the boxes and condensed them. More cute little stuff because we have fun in here. My desk. These are all perfect fit patterns. These are art projects for my son for the year. This is a notepad that doesn't belong there. Clipboard, legal pad. Very messy desk. And there's still more. I'm still going. Again, my summer stash is not going to hurt me at all. I keep my die cut machine still in the box under here. A Sculpey kit. That blue and white bag back there is actually an unfinished Afghan with the yarns in progress to complete it. The thrift books bag looks like trash, but it actually has, what did I put in there? I just put something in there recently. Oh, it was extra accessories for my camera, like attachments and things that I'm never going to use to like hook it to like a bike helmet and stuff. So this box is actually all books and magazines that are to get sold or get rid of. It probably needs to be gone back through because it's a mess. Stuff easily could have gotten put on top that doesn't belong there. And I need to pull out books on dollhouses and stuff for my mom. These are all recent acquisitions from Scrap Be More and the pothole heirloom project I've talked about. And we're almost done. This is school stuff. Most of this pile is homeschool related and not craft related. But as you can see, this box is yarns. That is a basket full of yarns and a stack of finished hats. It is. So as you can see, there is more than enough stash here to keep one person busy. I need the summer stash, and again, that's why my husband is helping me by allowing me to, like, you know, he's supporting me and allowing me to say, like, hey, I really need to get this, and giving 3 vetoes. But this is the craft room. I'm really hoping to get it much cleaner over the course of this summer, because it didn't fully get done last year because of my shoulder surgery and just looming, that's our microscope, just looming deadlines last year was a problem. Has a stack of ink pads actually. So I'm really excited to work down my stash and help get this room a lot cleaner, a lot nicer looking, and, you know, maybe be able to use it even better than I have been right now. But I thought it'd be really fun to show you what my craft room looks like before the summer of stash, and then again after the summer of stash, and we'll see how I do on working everything down. And I don't know, we'll see. So thanks for watching. I know my room is messy. I don't really need comments that say so. There's actually like a dust or a spider web right there. I don't really need comments. I know it's messy, you know, it is what it is. I'm hoping to work on it, but I hope you enjoyed watching, and I'm really curious to see what it looks like at the end of the summer after I've busted the stash.